Welcome to our Bible Stories channel, unfolding the life of Prophet Jeremiah. In Hebrew, the name Jeremiah, Yirmeyahu, or Yirmeyah, translates to the Lord exalts or the Lord establishes. In Latin, it is Jeremiah. This name may highlight that Jeremiah was one of the few individuals in the Bible specifically set apart by God for a unique mission before his birth. Born in the city of Anathoth, about 5 kilometers northeast of Jerusalem, his father, Hilkiah, was among the priests in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, part of the southern kingdom of Judah. Welcome to our Bible Stories channel, where we delve into the rich tapestry of biblical narratives to uncover timeless lessons and profound wisdom. Today, we journey into the life of the remarkable prophet Jeremiah. His story is not just a historical account but a source of inspiration, guidance, and reflection for our lives today. Join us as we unfold the layers of Jeremiah's life, his prophecies, and the enduring messages that resonate across generations. Despite being called by God to serve as a prophet, Jeremiah never ceased to be a priest, interceding and weeping for the people, earning him the title the Weeping Prophet. Good day, my name is Lucas Dario, and welcome to Testifying Jesus Christ Music. For the sins, I give grace and speeches, beloved. I ask for the help of all of you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. If you like the video, leave a like, which helps me a lot to produce more videos. Without further ado, let's dive into the video. Jeremiah's ministry began in the 13th year of King Josiah and spanned the reigns of the last 5 kings of Judah over approximately 40 years. Josiah was one of Judah's most righteous kings, implementing various reforms. When Josiah died, Jeremiah bitterly lamented his passing. After Josiah, 4 unjust kings ruled: Jehoahaz, Jehoiakim, Jehoiakim, and Zedekiah, under whose reign the Babylonian forces destroyed Jerusalem and burned the temple. The book of Jeremiah is the longest of the prophetic books. To give you an idea, if you combine the 12 minor prophet books, they constitute only a third of Jeremiah. Jeremiah lived during the last days of the southern kingdom of Judah, consistently warning of imminent disaster due to the nation's neglect of true religion, return to pagan practices, and social injustice. Due to his dire predictions against Judah, Jeremiah faced continuous persecution, ridicule, and hostility from kings and rulers, even being thrown into a pit full of mud or sewage. Jeremiah was not the only prophet of his time. Habakkuk and Zephaniah were among his contemporaries. He also overlapped with Ezekiel, who prophesied in Babylonian captivity. Remarkably, despite one prophesying in Palestine and the other in Babylon, the substance of their messages was similar. Historical background of Jeremiah. During Jeremiah's ministry, in 612 BC, Assyria was defeated by Babylon, which became the dominant military power. Nebuchadnezzar's army partially destroyed Jerusalem in 604 BC. Taking many people to Babylon in the first of 3 main exiles. The second group was taken in 597 BC, and the third and final removal occurred around 586 BC when Jerusalem was burned and destroyed. Despite these invasions, Jeremiah was protected and received freedom and provisions from the invading army captain. Later, Jeremiah was taken against his will, along with his secretary Baruch and the daughters of King Zedekiah, to Egypt, where they escaped and returned to Judah. His final fate is not clearly recorded in the Bible. Jeremiah's message. Jeremiah was appointed as the prophet to the nations and all the kingdoms of the world, primarily to help Israel, though much of his message was directed at Judah. This is significant because the 10 northern tribes of Israel were punished and captured in 722 BC, about 100 years before Jeremiah began his ministry. Thus, his prophecies often refer to future events, including the period before Christ's return at the end of this current era of human governance. Through Jeremiah, God warns modern nations that rejecting God and biblical teachings leads to moral and spiritual degradation, necessitating a terrible penalty. The lamenting prophet. Jeremiah is often characterized as a gloomy discourager with a pessimistic prophetic message. However, this one-sided impression does not reflect the entire content of his book. He proclaimed God's warning of imminent punishment unless the people repented of their voluntary disobedience. Yet, Jeremiah's message also contained remarkable and joyful prophecies of mercy, deliverance, and abundant life for all. He predicted a time when the Messiah would return to abolish human suffering, wars, and misery. Through Jeremiah, God revealed the way to a change of heart, making a world of peace possible. Although a prophet of the Old Covenant, Jeremiah had the heart of the New Covenant, lamenting over the iniquity and unrepentant attitude of his people, similar to Jesus Christ, who was described as a man of sorrows acquainted with grief. The potter and the clay. In chapters 18 and 19, Jeremiah uses the analogy of the potter and the clay to illustrate a fundamental biblical principle: God is the potter, and we are the clay. The clay has no right to demand anything from the potter. If the potter wants to reshape the clay, it depends entirely on him. Similarly, we must be willing to let God mold us according to his will and purpose. We serve a loving and compassionate God, and whatever form he decides to mold us will only be for our benefit. God will bless those who respond positively. From this analogy, we learn two lessons: our fragility and the need to trust in the Lord's faithfulness. Our physical bodies are fragile, created from dust. Our moral and spiritual fragility is evident in a world of relativism, where everyone does as they please, leading to anguish and the need for parameters. Despite our faltering, we must trust in God's faithfulness. When Jeremiah went to the potter's house, he saw the potter working on the wheels, symbolizing God's work in making and remaking us into vessels of honor according to his will and love. God has control over all things, and we need to surrender to his action without reluctance. Jeremiah's legacy. Jeremiah, the prophet who prophesied during the reigns of Judah's last monarchs, lived during the decline and fall of the southern kingdom in the 7th and 6th centuries BC. Born around 650 BC in Anathoth, in the territory of Benjamin near Jerusalem, Jeremiah's name can mean "the Lord identifies" or "the Lord exalts." In addition to being a prophet, he was also a priest, growing up in a God-fearing home despite a tumultuous time in Israel's history. Called by the Lord in 627 BC during King Josiah's reign, Jeremiah initially felt inadequate but was reassured by God. Serving for at least 40 years, he prophesied during the reigns of 4 kings, warning of the inevitability of Babylonian captivity and calling for repentance. Jeremiah's main messages included a call to repentance, a warning of God's imminent judgment, the prediction of Babylonian captivity, and the fall of Jerusalem. He held the people accountable for their sins and announced the salvation of a remnant through exile with a promise of marvelous restoration and a new covenant. Despite persecutions, Jeremiah maintained a vigorous ministry, known as the Weeping Prophet. After the fall of Jerusalem, he stayed in Babylon and later in Egypt, continuing to preach until his death. The exact circumstances of his death are unknown, but his fame endured, and there were beliefs about a possible resurrection among the Jews. Ancient historians claim Jeremiah was stoned to death in Egypt by some Hebrews in revolt, but the Holy Scriptures do not confirm this. Conclusion. As we conclude our journey through the life of the prophet Jeremiah, we hope you found inspiration and insight in the profound messages woven into his story. Jeremiah's unwavering commitment to his calling, resilience in the face of adversity, and the powerful messages he delivered serve as a beacon for us all. May the lessons from Jeremiah's life continue to resonate in your hearts and minds, guiding you on your own journey of faith. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of biblical narratives on our Bible Stories channel. Stay tuned for more enriching tales from the Scriptures. Until next time, may the wisdom of the Bible illuminate your path.